Excuse me. Okay, that's better. So, this isn't going to be a very long video. I'm probably just going to, leave it up today and then take it down. But, I've got a lot of, feelings about this whole situation, even though none of it really concerns me. But at the same time, um, it's like I'm trying to think of how to say something that I'm thinking of trying to think of how to say the things I need to say without pissing people off. But I know just the fact that I'm having an opinion about this is going to piss people off. So let's just be completely authentically honest, shall we? First of all, I notice a lot of people claiming to be Christian. Carrie and her flying monkeys, most of them claim to be Christian. G-Man claims to be Christian. And none of these people actually are. Mind you, none of them actually are. No, they're more the Old Testament God, which is not Christian. It's actually Yahweh. Yahweh being one side of a Canaanite, pantheon. I mean, let's just be honest. Baal and Yahweh are basically both storm gods. Yahweh was the god of the country people. Baal was city people, right? But that's neither here nor there. The issue it is that I see a lot of people calling themselves Christian. Just a second, I gotta blow my nose real hard. So these people are calling themselves Christian, and there's just so much drama. And it got me thinking, because it's like I'm reading posts that Shanny and Rev and Carrie and Hussey and G-Man, all these people are making. I'm just kind of like checking in every so often. And I've been homeless. I was homeless for a number of years, sadly enough. And while I wasn't drinking or smoking or doing weird shit, I was getting the same kind of abuse as far as not being able to find help, not being able to access resources, and then also having a lot of people online wanting to punish me for past behaviors, which were really just kind of things they didn't like. So, yeah, I am kind of a little triggered by this because what I see from Carrie, G-Man, etc., is well, I'll just use this example. Like this morning, I checked in on the comments section of one of Shanny's posts, and it was like this person had basically written out this entire financial plan for the $750,000, which they no longer have. And I'm like, what's the point? What's the point? Well, the point is they want them to feel guilty for having that money and not having it. Because here's the thing. If it had anything to do with ethics or justice, y'all would be punching up. You'd be talking about government waste and fraud. You'd be talking about corporate waste and fraud. You'd be talking about, big pharma waste and fraud and lying to the public. You'd be talking about churches, fraud and all this other. You'd be talking about you'd be punching up. You'd be saying, hey, this system and that system and this system. No. You find the two biggest losers that you can possibly find, Shanny and Rev. The two biggest losers with severe psychological and emotional disorders. And then you want to act like there was any possibility of them spending that money appropriately or investing. You're not angry because there's been an injustice. You're resentful because you didn't have that money. You're sitting there, all of you, Carrie, Husky, G-Man, all these people, right? And, you're resentful because you think that you would have acted differently. You're envisioning this world where you get $750K in your bank account, and all of a sudden you become, you know, uh, the greatest investor on the planet. You become that what's his fucking face from here from Nebraska. I can't think of the guy's name. That big investor. There's so many investors, right? Jeff Bezos is an investor. Elon Musk is an investor. So many investors. You're thinking, you're gonna be one of the rich and famous, and one of the elite, and one of the, you're gonna be invited to lobster and champagne parties, and you're gonna rub elbows with celebrities and models, and you're just gonna, like it's only up from there. It's like no, come on. Any educated person, which of course leaves most of these people out, including, well, especially Carrie, who's vehemently screaming about that it's because of the children. Meanwhile, she doc drops and ridicules a SA survivor because he's the son, or was it the son or the daughter? I don't know. I don't follow half this shit. She doc drops the information of the son for no other reason than to do a gotcha on Harpy Girl or whatever the hell the woman's name is. I don't know. Anyway. But it's weird because, Carrie's got all her little flying monkeys and she'll turn on them occasionally. She was in love with TJ for a while and then she dropped him, and, that's a whole can of worms. That's just amazing. Like, none of these people would have handled that money any differently. The vast majority of these people. Hey, I'm guilty of it too. I had 150,000 and I fucking blew that money like there was no tomorrow, and it was dumb. Now let's talk about the whole thing of well, Rev kicked an autistic kid in the head. Yes, he did, and he admits that. And yes, he's a piece of shit for doing it, and he should suffer consequences. But at the same time, isn't it law enforcement that's supposed to dole out the consequences, and not a group of rising maggots, such as the Carrie Discord and all her followers? I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering. But then again, this goes back to the disproportionateness of it, right? Because law enforcement says, no, there's nothing we can do. They haven't broken a law, really. They've done something shitty, but it doesn't rise up to this level. And so these people calling themselves Christian want to punish instead of actually do anything beneficial. Again, it goes back to when I see these people attack some, and it's for me, it's an underdog situation. It's like, okay, you're seeing two people literally on the street, completely unprepared for how to deal with the situation they're in. And it's just constant ridicule and harassment and abuse and slander and mocking them and ridiculing them. And here's the dirty little secret. Here's a dirty little secret. Um, y'all need Shanny and Rev to survive and make videos so that you actually have content for your shitty little channel so you can pull in, what, 2K a month? You're going nuts. You people are going nuts over 2K a month. I doubt she's even getting that, but I don't know. Who cares, right? So let's say some of these creators are getting 2K a month. I know Secular Opinions, saved up quite a bit of money, but I'm not sure how much. But he's been doing it far longer than a lot of these people have. And a lot of these people, their stuff just really isn't that compelling because it's the same stuff over and over and over and over and over. It's a core group of people who enjoy watching pain and suffering, who have no empathy, no compassion, no like no wits about them, right? They're just they're seeing a dog vomit on the ground and they're the first ones there to slurp it up. And boy, did they get bitchy when there's nothing there to slurp. Because y'all were fighting. Like when Shanny and Rev disappeared for just not even. Rev was there, disappeared for about a month. Shanny was gone for about 2 months. You people were tearing each other apart. You people were tearing each other apart. And I guess that's when Carrie started fighting with that one woman with the kid. And it's like, here's the thing. If you're going to call yourself a Christian, if you're going to call yourself ethical and just, here's the dirty little secret. Consistency of morality over time. Yeah. Actually follow your own rules. But don't do that. You want rules for everybody else. You do not have any rules. And then you get to say, oh, I get to do whatever I want. And I don't have to follow any rules. But I'm going to hold everybody else accountable to these rules that I create that I'm not even going to follow. But I'm going to say, okay, this person has to follow that rule. This person over here has to follow this other rule. And this person over here has to follow this rule. They're not obligated to you. Like, Rev and Shanny are not obligated to, take the donation money that they get and get a hotel. They're probably not even getting enough donation money to get any. I mean, I saw in one comment, somebody basically donated a couple of sleeping bags and a tent, but I mean, okay, then they're going to have that to drag around with them. Like, they are so wholly unprepared, it's ridiculous. Another thing, let's look at the more macro level of this. I keep seeing people in the comments saying to get a job. How is a homeless person supposed to get a job? Where are they supposed to shower? Where are they supposed to change clothes into their work uniform? Where are they supposed to write down on a W-2 their address? What? They don't have an address. Okay, address. The street? The corner of whatever? Now, I suspect that they got kicked out of the motel. I suspect they did that. I guess suspect that. And there's ways you can figure out if they were in a sorry, it's morning, it's early. Just a second, I gotta pull my nose again. I'm like, But it's like, what more can be done to Shanny and Rev? for the crime of wasting $750,000 and abusing their children, abusing cats. At what point? At what point do you not say, you know, the ledger is blank? At what point do you say the debts have been cleared? Because, I mean, little Carrie, the demonic little witch that she is, and her flying monkeys have made it clear. It has nothing to do with justice, nothing to do with morality or ethics. This is pure punishment for clicks and views because that's all she cares about. And it's deeply, deeply sad. And it's like, there's a lot of people in this world who think, oh, if I get away with everything in life, then after death, there's no punishment, right? If I can justify it in life, then there's no punishment, right? I'm not so naive as to believe that, and I don't think most Christians are, but apparently a lot of them are. Uh-huh. At some point, and that's the thing, it's like I was watching a podcast last night and they were talking about how the free speech to actually go after the people at the top to actually punch up, that's disappearing. It is disappearing. It's going to be, which one is it going to be? I can't think of the name right now. It's very early. I'm tired. But it's one of the Huxley's works that Brave New World, that's what it was. Because everybody's looking for the next dopamine hit. The people in power aren't being held accountable. And you're all encouraged to go after the lowest common denominator and then sit there and make the claim that you're Christian, make the claim that you're doing this out of a sense of justice or ethics or fairness. Now, okay, I gotta get going. I got a live stream to watch.
Your daughter's complaining.
But I know she is. This is taking longer than I thought, but the thing of it is like you people, and when I say you people, I mean this community of trolls. And there's dozens of communities like this. Like, I don't have to go very far to find the exact same dynamic on YouTube, the exact same dynamic happening with an entirely separate group of people who have never heard of Shanny and Rev, who have never heard of the goddamn podcast, who've never heard of G-Man, who've never heard of Von Helton, never heard of any of these people. In fact, you can find new people who have been on YouTube for almost the entirety of YouTube. So it's not like Carrie and all these others are doing things that are, interesting or one of a kind or unique. No, it's just horrible people with very large egos and small minds deluding themselves into thinking that they're somehow the good guys when they're abusing people at the bottom of the social hierarchy, at the bottom of the socioeconomic hierarchy. Now, mind you, I'm not defending Shanny and Rev. So much as I am pointing out the psychological and emotional dynamics of what's going on. And maybe it'll be lost on most of you. Don't care. It is what it is. I just felt the need to say something. Now you might be saying, well, would you send Shanny and Rev money? Fuck no. Of course, no, I would not. I mean, I'd point them to the right shelter. I'd point them to the mission. G-Man tried that. You know, it looked how it worked out for him. And now he's full of bitterness and resentments. And instead of turning it over to Christ, he's on here on YouTube crying and whining about how he's a victim. It's like, dude, you got a house for $1. $1. If you didn't fix it up and rent that son of a bitch out for fucking, residual income for the rest of your life, that's on you. It's on you. But it's obscene. It's obscene for these people to sit there and call themselves Christians. I mean, I can actually respect TJ a little bit more, quite a bit more than I can respect Carrie and some of these other people, because at least he's fucking honest about who and what he is. He admits that he's a piece of shit. He admits it. No apologies. I mean, at least he's got that going for him. At least that's actually some degree of character. He's not deluding himself into thinking that he is like some knight in shining armor on a white horse coming to reveal the truth of the world. No, he knows he's just he's an alcoholic, drug addicted, fry cook who sleeps around and doesn't take care of the kids he produces and lives with his mother and doesn't want to get a job because he doesn't want to pay child support. He admits that he's a piece of shit, at least. I mean, it's hilarious. It really is. Anyway, I think I'm going to end with that. Because I don't know. I mean, are Shanny and Rev going to die of exposure? Maybe. What are you going to do then? Find other lol cows? You got a little cow drought. Because I, for one, ain't coming back. I'm too busy working on real shit. And the thing about it is, though, it's like with somebody like Shanny and Rev, like you can put them in a facility. You can put them in a facility. You can educate them. You can, do all the group therapy and all the whatever. But at the end of the day, if they don't want to change, they're not going to change. And the thing about being homeless is, I mean, every vice, every temptation that is imaginable is going to be there because they're not looking. Because the thing about it is they're looking for escape from the pain, and that's all they've been doing. Now they're just on the street. But they have to want to change. And the thing about it is that's kind of a similarity between, Shanny and Carrie are actually pretty similar. Pretty similar. They're both delusional. They both have incredibly huge egos. They both think that they've done nothing wrong. They both refuse to take accountability for their actions and cry about being victims, albeit Shanny does it on YouTube and Carrie does it in Discord. Shanny turns on the people who help her. Carrie does the same thing, so yeah. And the thing of it is I know everybody will be making a copy of this video and having a clusterfuck about it, but you know what? That's your choice. I am going to get going. I have better things to do. There is Tri-City Comic-Con happening today, and I'm going to go to that. get some good footage. I'll probably put that up. But yeah, it's just a really tragic situation, and it's to some degree. I'm not sure who's more tragic, Shanny and Rev, or the people whose lives revolve around watching them so that they can feel better about their own lives. To me, that's existential horror. Deeply existential horror. And it sure as hell has nothing to do with Christ. Have a good day, everybody.